Who's the worst main character we're supposed to sympathize with? The kids from the Trix cereal commercials. All the rabbit wants to do is eat some cereal, but the kids won't let him just because he's a rabbit. Racist pricks. Emily from Emily in Paris, she fucks up and barely suffers the consequences. Sleeping with a friend's partners and still remains friends with both of them openly. Screws up business opportunities, nothing besides a slap on the wrists, and somehow, it's magically resolved. And her whole, I am a dumb American, Bon Apple Tea. And she dresses like if Harry Styles was colorblind. Her banging the teen was when I noped out of there. Mark from Rent. I love Rent, but as I get older the more ridiculous it gets. Mark is a rich kid who has parents that love him, but he runs off to cosplay as someone who is poor to make films, which is really just him pointing his camera at poor people all day. He doesn't think he should have to pay rent to Benny because they were friends and he let them stay for free for a long time and he thinks that should just last forever? Then he finally gets a job but quits because it was selling out. I love Rent, but yeah, they were all shitty. Benny's like, you know how I let you stay here for free in my property for a long time? Well, I'd like to continue to let you stay here for free if you stop people from wrecking this new creative art thing I'm building. And, you guys can even use it. Can you please just help stop people from ruining it? Because I feel like I'm not getting a lot here. Also, someone just murdered my dog, and they're just like, FUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUUU himself. Ah, so romantic. Lady, he's actually insane. Jax Teller from Sons of Anarchy. Dude's son straight up got kidnapped and his wife got injured to the point she couldn't perform surgeries because his stepdad put a hit out on her and it still wasn't enough for him to leave his dumb motorcycle club. His wife begged him to leave for their safety and he wouldn't. She tried to leave on her own with her children and he stopped her. Then she ends up getting murdered by his psycho mom. Dude was a straight up poss. Jax got terrible towards the end, but they also destroyed other characters too. The worst for me was Juice's whole secret blackmail storyline. Cade Yeager from the newer Transformers movies. Was Sam a good main character? No, not at all. But damn, Cade is horrible. In his first, let's say, 10 minutes on screen we learn that he doesn't pay for his house, his electricity, he doesn't pay his employee, he is a shit inventor, overly protective of his daughter and all around an ass. And he only gets worse. Was that the one whose daughter was with a guy that had like an entire conversations out Romeo and Juliet laws? Whole thing just felt icky. That bald-headed little bastard from a kid's show who acts like a spoiled shit. Kailu did not want to go to the park today. Like all days, Kailu was being passive-aggressive. I always told my kids that Caillou had cancer, which is why he was bald and why his parents literally let him get away with anything and everything. They are fine preteens now lol. That bitch from the Bears that goes in their house and eats all their porridge. This is the thread where I learn how out of touch with popular culture I am. I only recognized Tom and Jerry. I would have said Nate from Ted Lasso, but the show caught my vibe and turned him into the antagonist. I hope he doesn't get a redemption arc. I suspect he may. The star got one, the owner got one, the lackey got one, the three hooligans at the pub kind of got one. I'm bad with names. Debbie Gallagher from Shameless, truly a horribly selfish, self-centered, and all-around horrible person. The Gallaghers are all supposed to be bad people. Still, I agree she was my least favorite character. They tried too hard to make her a Fiona replacement and the character they had made with her just didn't fit that role, so it was this weird disjointed character arc. She was so much better as one of the younger kids and the one desperate for an actual family instead of a matriarchal role. Abe Lincoln from Clone High. It's kind of an obscure one-season wonder from 20 years ago that not enough people cared about, but I feel a few fans will be here and agree with me. Did you see the pool? They flipped the bitch. Tom Cruise in Risky Business. There's a setup in the beginning. He's in some business class where they're supposed to come up with some business idea. Then his parents go away for the weekend. Cue that famous scene. Tom Cruise, the protagonist and high school student, orders a prostitute. The prostitute turns out to be a man. But that prostitute gives him another number to call and he finally gets a girl, and they bang. Something happens where Cruise now needs money. He and the prostitute he's befriended decide to start a brothel in his parents' house. A brothel that caters exclusively to Cruise's high school friends. They make the money they need and then some. Parents come home none the wiser. We end with Tom Cruise back in the business class failing the assignment because he was busy doing the whole child brothel thing, but ends with a voiceover where he's proudly saying how much money he actually made. Turns out he actually was a businessman. I think you're blaming him a bit too much in this one. Tom doesn't order the original prostitute. His friend does it as a prank. The second prostitute that he befriended is the ringleader of the brothel and the one who pushes the idea. Tom definitely isn't blameless, but it's not so cut and dry. Tori Vega from Victorious. She kissed Beck in front of everyone just to get back at Jade, and she kissed Kat's boyfriend because she was jealous. And she didn't seem to care that her prom prevented Jade from doing her performance. Agreed. Also, I thought Kat and Jade were more impressive vocalists. It drove me crazy that Tori was the main character despite most of the people around her being more talented and enjoyable to watch. Hannah Baker from 13 Reasons Why. And #X200B. Commits suicide and becomes romanticized by the school and everyone around her. Gets a cute boy to become obsessed with her and view her as the one who got away, and gets revenge on all her bullies. It's everything you don't want to tell or show a person struggling with suicidal thoughts. They also specifically asked suicide awareness and prevention organizations what to do and not do when depicting suicide, and promptly ignored every single thing they were told. This show is disgusting and pathetic, and the creators should be ashamed. Eleanor Guthrie from Black Sails. We're supposed to root for her because of the situations she's often in, struggling as an independent woman in a ruthless man's world of the 1700s, but she fucks over her supposed friends and everyone that's ever tried to help her at every opportunity. Then turns around and is shocked, horrified, and plays the victim when they do it back. Classic narcissist. Marty and Wendy Bird are total sociopaths. They destroy people's lives everywhere they go. Yet, I find myself rooting for them. It's weird, I really was rooting for them until the end, and never once does the show try to pretend that they aren't monsters. Jerry from Tom and Jerry. Now, nothing in the Tom and Jerry verse is really consistent, and a lot of their dynamic depends on whichever studio did the episode. But I remember a lot of times when Tom wasn't really trying to seriously hurt Jerry. He was usually toying with him like cats do, or if he'd cross the line, he would immediately feel bad about it and then save Jerry himself. Meanwhile, Jerry, the little fuck we're supposed to root for, uses that to his advantage to lure Tom into situations that genuinely would have killed him if not for cartoon immortality. I always rooted for Tom.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and watch our other videos.